Hello, this is Alton Film Guy, and what we have here today is not the GH1, but I'm just showing you it on here so that you can see the whole setup that's for sale. What I have here is a Sankor 16C, really nice looking lens, and we have a couple of adapter rings here. Let me come a little bit closer so that you can see this really well. So we have a Sankor 16C. I custom mounted that myself. You can take off the 16C from the lens, and then you can actually go ahead and place this on another lens. And there's actually an adapter ring permanently attached to the 16C, and then another ring to actually adapt it to the to the SMC Takumar. So you could, right now, the one that's permanently attached is a 52 to 42, so the back end's 42 millimeters. So you could actually just go ahead and get whatever adapter ring you need if you wanted to put it on a different lens. You just have to get a 42 to whatever you wanted to adapt it to. So that's what we have on there. So what's included is, of course, the 16C, these two adapter rings, this lens itself, which is a really nice SMC Takumar f1.4 50 millimeter lens. That's very similar to the Super Takumar 50 millimeter f1.4. This is made just slightly later. It doesn't brown on the inside like the Super Takumar super multi-coated lens does. So I actually like it a little bit more. But then that lens is included, that taking lens, and then actually an M42 2 micro 4/3 adapter is also included. So you get the entire setup minus the GH1 so that you can film with it. Now, so this is basically a turnkey solution. So all you have to do on set is take this lens, and there's a line on the top of the anamorphic lens. You just align that so that it's perfectly pointing straight up. Then you focus with the taking lens, and you also focus with the anamorphic lens. And using focus assist, you just use them both until you get perfect focus, and then you can take your shot of your scene. And in a little bit, there's more. I'm actually going to be showing footage from this actual camera. Right now, we're shooting from a Panasonic HVX200, and I'll show you this lens functioning and everything. And one of the things, I will show some pictures of this, and you probably won't be able to see it from here, but there's a small amount of separation on the back two elements. I'll actually take a still image of the separation. It's a very, very, very small amount, and whenever this lens is lined up, it's on the right side of what would be the screen, and I personally have never been able to actually notice that bit of separation in the lens. It's a really small spot, and it's off to the side. So I don't know, perhaps with the 2x crop factor of the GH1, perhaps it never gets into shot or something. I'm not completely sure. So that's a possibility. So I'm not sure what the coverage would be if you put this 50 onto a full frame system. I haven't tried that myself. But if you're using a ground glass depth of field adapter or something, you could always just zoom in a little bit closer and do the same thing that basically the GH1 or GH2 or a micro 4/3 camera does. Yeah, I'll have some still images that I'll show in the video right now. And what this is showing you right now is that small amount of separation, if you can actually even see it. And in the eBay listing itself, I'll show a few close-ups of the 16C, of the 50mm SMC Takumar 50mm f1.4, and of course you get a foootage micro 4/3 to M42 adapter, as this 50 is an M42 lens, so you need an adapter to go to it. But you'll get all of this together, and all you have to do, line up the line, do your focus, and you're ready to shoot. Yeah, it's a really nice looking setup. It's a little bit long, but it's not so horrible that you couldn't do some quick run and gun with this. Of course, with any anamorphic setup, run and gun may be difficult because of the fact that you have to focus both lenses. But you probably would be able to get into most places and put this in a bag and be able to take it out and take either photos or video quite quickly, and people probably wouldn't think too much of it. So it can be a very good stealth anamorphic setup with that. It just looks like a regular, just huge telephoto lens or something, which it's not. Of course, with the crop factor of the GH1, in one dimension the lens will be a 50, and in the other it'd be 100. I can't remember which way. Yeah, in the horizontal it's a 50, and in the vertical it's 100. Thanks to the anamorphic factor of the lens, the anamorphic lens. So yeah, that's the setup. And like I said, the GH1 is not included in the sale. I hope you enjoy it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut here, and you'll start to see footage that I did a little bit earlier with this actual setup, so that you can see some actual footage from the lens. And I already looked at the footage, reviewed it, and I think it looks quite good. So I hope you're happy with it. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. If you'd like to see specific photographs or video taken with this, I don't have any test charts here right now, so I can't do I can't do those kind of shots. But if you ask for specific things, I'm not in a big city, so I can't do any large buildings or anything like that. But if you want some nature shots, if anything specific in my yard, parks, things like that. I'm kind of in the country, but if you ask me for specific footage, I'll go ahead and do that, because I know that a setup like this does cost a few dollars, so you sometimes want to see specific things. But it's a really nice lens. I've enjoyed it for a long time, but it's time to let it go and buy different other cool equipment, so that I can say that I used that other pieces of equipment. I always love doing that, buying and selling, just so that I can say that I used something. So enjoy your full turnkey Sankor 16C anamorphic setup for the GH1. But of course you can adapt this stuff to many different things, because like I said, the anamorphic lens can be taken off and then adapted to something. I can't guarantee you what different lenses will work, but you can ask me, and you can definitely go to the Vimeo group that I help moderate and ask people if they have experience with the 16C, with a specific lens that you are thinking of. And then of course the 50mm is included, and it also can come off of the entire setup. And then of course the micro 4/3 to M42 adapter is included, so you could buy other M42 lenses and use them with that adapter, which I love M42. I have quite a few different M42 lenses. They're a good old format of really well made. Almost everything in M42 is good solid metal construction, and all of this is good hard metal construction. There's no crappy plastic that I know of on this entire setup. One thing I will say, the finder and thing on here on this lens, it does not work. The thing to be able to like see your depth of field and all that. But I'd suggest never depending on that stuff anyway. But it can easily, you know, it just kind of turns that thing. All that is just a finder. It isn't actually a mechanical part of the lens. The iris still works perfectly, clicks through everything. Good, nice, solid clicks. The focus ring is good and smooth. Although I will say that with any anamorphic setup, with that much weight on the front, it can be a little bit of a chore to move. But minus that lens, it works perfectly well. And if you do any like hardcore filming, I would get support for the anamorphic lens. I wouldn't bang this around and do crazy stuff with it, or else you could damage the whole system, because that's a lot of stuff connected there, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't bang this around a lot. So I hope you enjoy, and we'll cut to the other footage. Thanks. Hello, this is Alton Film Guy. I think, well, this is the first thing I'm filming, but I do believe you'll see it second after I've shown you the lens. Right here, we're filming with a Panasonic GH1. We're using an micro 4/3 to M42 adapter to use a Takumar lens. Oh gosh, which one is this? I've got a couple of these. This is an SMC Takumar f1.4 50. It's a very good combo. You might have seen the difference, because I'm just going to stretch the entire video. So yeah, here's the anamorphic lens, but I'm not going to change the focus here. So what we're looking at is, of course I said we're filming with a Panasonic GH1. Where's that point? I'm trying to get you oriented correctly. There we go. So we're on a GH1 to a micro 4/3 to M42 adapter to the SMC Takumar, which is very similar, very similar. It's almost the exact same lens as the Super Takumar SMC. I believe it was just made a little bit after they stopped making that particular lens. It seems as sharp as those lenses, and I have one of those lenses myself, and it's one of my favorites. But this one's actually my most favorite. Yeah, I actually like this one more than I like the Super Takumar. But I'm sure you don't care. But you might be looking at this because you saw the Takumar stuff. Yeah, I love the lenses. But then what we have is the Sankor 16C on the front. It's a really nice looking lens. And as I probably pointed out in the video that you'll see right before this, there is a slight amount of separation between the two of the on the Sankor. I'm not sure how many elements are in the lens, but in the back group there are at least 2 elements, and between the 2 elements there's a slight amount of separation. I'm not sure where it would be in the frame right now. It would be on the right side of the frame, but personally I never see it. I know that the separation in the glass, it's a very small spot. I know that the separation exists, but I've never actually been able to point it out. It would be somewhere in the frame on this side, if you can see it at all. I can't, personally. But this is a very beautiful lens. Very good. If you're looking to have a turnkey solution on a GH1, there's a perfect lens combination. and I'm not selling the GH1, but it's a Sankor 16C. It's a couple of adapter rings to adapt it to the SMC Takumar f1.4, and then that also is connected to an M42 to micro 4/3 adapter. So all of those things are included: the Sankor 16C, the adapter rings, the taking lens itself, the SMC Takumar, and the adapter so that you can put it on a GH1. It's a really good combination. Right now, we are focused on that tree that's in center frame. I set the focus before we started shooting here. So it's a very beautiful lens. Let me pump a little bit more light into here. And I will show, I'll go ahead and show the entire range. That's 1.4, there's the 2, there's a half stop to 2.8, there's 2.8, there's a half stop to 4, there's 4. We're going to start getting dark here. There's a half stop to 5.6, there's 5.6 itself. Let me add a little bit more in there. So right now we're at 5.6. We step down a little bit more. Let me give you a little bit more light. And what I'm doing is adjusting the shutter. So it's a half stop to 8 right now. This is 8. There's a half stop to 11. Add a little bit more light. There's 11 itself. And some more light. As you can see, as you start to step down, you might be able to just slightly notice some vignetting. But what I would suggest, and what I personally do with this lens, is I always cut a little bit off the sides anyway. With a 16:9 format, using a 2x anamorphic adapter, you'll actually come to a 2.66 to 1 aspect ratio on your films, which is probably just a little bit too wide. At least I think it's 2.66. I'd have to do the math, and I don't have my phone in front of me. Yeah, I can't do the math in my head. Well, maybe I'll just grab my phone. Okay, yeah, sorry about the wait there. I'm going to grab my calculator and do the math for you. Like that times... Okay, actually, I'm wrong. Yeah, it's a 3.66 to 1 aspect ratio. I would cut that down a little bit. Because that is very, very, very wide. And even on a 16:9 television, that'll be a little bit squat. But to be quite honest, using a 2x and doing a little bit of cropping will get you that anamorphic look, and it'll get you a very good looking look on the screen. As you can see, this all looks really good. And you won't have to pay through the nose for a 1.5 like an ISCO, which are just like insanely expensive now. You know, for, I don't know, a third of the cost, you'll be able to buy this lens setup. So, yeah, I mean, you could try to get an ISCO and get a different aspect ratio. But to be quite honest, I don't know, it's just too expensive for my blood. I know that. That's why I own the 16C. But I'm getting out of anamorphic film for a split second. I'm not sure if I could Well, I'm on house power right now, so I can't really get you any anamorphic flares, probably. The sun's on the other side of my house. But I'm sure if you take a look on YouTube and such, you'll be able to find some really cool footage with the 16C. And I run an anamorphic, or actually I help moderate an anamorphic group on Vimeo, which I'll put a link inside of the eBay auction to that. I'm one of the moderators there because I've had quite a bit of experience with anamorphics. This is kind of a custom pair of lenses. Oh yeah, we were at 11, or we were at a half stop to 16, I think. That's 16, f16. Let me add some more light in there. Yeah, and by now our focus should actually be quite deep because of that. You should be able to see a lot more things in focus like that. But you'll also be able to more easily notice that slight amount of vignetting that you do get at very high f-stops. I would suggest filming anywhere in the range of, I don't know, 2.8 to 5.6 or something. I mean, that's what most people shoot at anyway, but I'll just say it, you know. Anamorphics aren't exactly, no matter what, even the really expensive ones, you know, you rarely see anybody working wide open at f1.4. I would just suggest lighting for what you need. Like there, yeah, actually there's a vignette on the upper right that you can see that exists with this at a high f-stop. But that's totally the highest f-stop possible. And there's even more of it that you can see there. You know, but I don't know if you can see that, but I can notice it a little bit. But it's not disturbing or anything. But like I said, I would shave something off the sides anyway to get a not such a squat format. If you display that 3.66 to 1 aspect ratio on a 4:3 TV, it's going to be like a teeny itty bitty sliver of that screen. Even on a widescreen TV, it's going to be a really teeny sliver. So I would suggest taking a little bit off the sides. But yeah, this is a very good lens combination for a GH1. It's a 50, so with the 2x crop factor of a GH1, it is a 100mm lens, but if you don't know how anamorphics work, they actually stretch or compress in one dimension. So in one dimension, this lens actually is still a 50, and in the other dimension, it is a 100. If you understand that, you might have to study on anamorphics if you want to understand what I meant by that. But like, you know, one way is stretched and one way is not stretched, and that's how anamorphics work. So, and you know, one dimension is left and right, and the second dimension is up and down. And so, with the 2x factor of the Sankor 16C, this is effectively a 50mm lens in one dimension and a 100 in the other. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, I'll end that here. That's 13 minutes long. I hope you enjoy your Sankor 16C custom adapted to a SMC Takumar 50mm f1.4 with a micro 4/3 to M42 adapter, so it's all ready to use. All you have to do is already own a GH1 or a GH2 or a micro 4/3 camera in general, and you can just put this right on and you can be up and filming in no time. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy the lens. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask me. I am a big fan of anamorphics, and like I said, I'm a moderator on a group about anamorphic lenses. So feel free to ask me any questions you have, even if they're not related to the specific lens, because they are a love of mine. And I've sold many anamorphic lenses on eBay and bought many. I kind of have a rotating door of buying different camera type equipment just so that I can say that I own it and experience using it. So I really enjoyed owning this lens, and I hope you do too. And please, once you've gotten this lens, feel free to come by the Anamorphic Forum on Vimeo. Let us know what you thought of the lens. Show us some images, or maybe using some footage with the lens, and I would love to see that. I'd love to see everyone's work, certainly with things that I have owned. It's always fun to have a history of a lens. That way, if you go to sell it, you can feel free to use my video like this one, and then you can use your own, and then the next person can do the same, and there'll be a big, long, nice history of this wonderful anamorphic lens. So I'm past 15 minutes on this, and I'll probably have already shown you a bunch of other stuff, so I'm probably going way more than I need to. So enjoy. From Alton Film Guy,